Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Life. We are out here in a wonderful neighborhood, and I'm been joined by the tax director for Buncombe County, and we've got some information coming up here that's really important for you. So if you've got a few minutes, sit back and relax and listen to this. You might want to put your feet up, get a cup of coffee, because it may not be the most thrilling information we're going to say, but it's something that will impact you in the coming months for sure, and they don't need to miss it, do they, Gary?
No, very exciting.
That's right.
In my world.
This is Gary Roberts, our tax director, and what we're going to talk about is what's coming up is the tax reappraisal. Now, folks at home go, okay, I'm switching this channel. Don't do that, because it's going to impact them directly. Right?
That's correct. Very important. And we're going to be changing values on a lot of real estate, and certainly want to be in tune to what's happening, how it's going to affect you, and what your property taxes might be.
That's right. So every year you get a tax bill. Everybody gets a tax bill that lives in Buncombe County. And that tax bill, if they own property, is based on a value. Right. That's what's happening is you're getting ready to revalue their property. And we haven't done that for 8 years. 7 years. See,
last time we did it was January of 2006.
Okay, and so what I want the folks at home just to know the basics, so when they get some literature in the mail that you're getting ready to mail out, that they know what it is, that the community is not shocked when this comes. So what y'all have done is revalue. So let's start at the beginning and say, what is tax revaluation?
Reevaluation is a process where the county looks at all of the property values located within our boundary lines and reassesses those to market value. And what happens is over a period of time, like from the last 7 years that we've done it, home prices have gone up, come down, gone back up.
Yeah, they have.
All around the nation, but especially in Buncombe County. And for us to appraise all those property values and bring them up to market value makes everything more equitable when you apply a tax rate to it.
So let's just say my house, for example. I live in Fairview. So my house has a tax value on it right now that you set 7 years ago.
Right.
Okay. And what you've done is gone back and looked at my neighborhood, sales in my neighborhood, different things, and you've put a new value on my property.
Correct. One of the things we do during the 7-year period, and we try to do it for the whole county, some we've already gathered, some I would say in the last 7 years we've gone through probably 90% of the county and re-looked at the homes. And what we have for all citizens is something called a property record card. And you can go to the county's website, look up tax department, and then look up your tax information and see this card. And what this card gives is the basic characteristics of your property. It tells us the size of your land, tells who owns it, tells what improvements are on the land.
How many bathrooms I have, if it's heat and air conditioned, if I've got carpet, all that stuff.
The year it was built, and then it'll show a value on there. And you can also on our website look at the whole neighborhood and see what values are for other neighbors located in the neighborhood.
Right. And so what y'all have done is you've updated those values with the current market value.
Exactly. When we go out and look at all the homes, we update that information on that property record card. So if you've made any change, we update that. And then we take that information of your property and the land, and we come up with a new market value. Now the market value, though, should be what is there January 1 of 2013. Okay,
so, and what is market value?
Market value is what the property would sell for on the market if it's sold. Okay, what another person would buy for.
So it's y'all shoot for 100% of market value.
Exactly.
Not.
Exactly.
I know there used to be an old rumor that said you can sell it for this, but your tax value is less than that.
Right. Some states tax at different percentages of market value, but North Carolina is a state that looks at 100% of the market value, and that brings the fairness and equity to all citizens when the values are all the same.
So you said that you set all property at market value, or that's the tax value you put on it is the market value. But how do you know what market value is?
Well, we use 3 approaches to that. We look at the sales or the market, what homes are selling for, you know, in the communities. Second approach we use is cost approach, what it would take to build a home.
Oh, yeah.
Land has a price that you've paid for it. What does it cost to build a home on that property? And then a third one we use is income approach. Now that's more for commercial properties, and what we look at is, what would the property derive in income, on its highest and best use.
Right.
And then we'll take those and average them together, usually the cost and the market, or what most of our residential properties, and look at, and then we'll come up with what we believe the fair value, market value, what we believe it would sell for January 1st of 2013, and then that's what we'll establish as your new assessment.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is an example from Fairview, because I live out where there's some of these gated communities. I don't live in one myself, but there's some around me. And I would guess the home sales values in those communities are higher than what mine would sell for. Do you take that into consideration?
We do. We look at things if if your home is in a rural area and you don't have certain amenities, but a gated community or maybe a development has tennis courts or a swimming pool or a golf course.
Paved roads.
Exactly, paved roads.
Yeah.
Those are things that if you look at comparable properties, what would somebody be willing to pay for that property versus another one? A rural area without those would sell possibly for less.
Right.
Because of you're paying a little bit more for those amenities that you might not in a different area. And we look at those.
Good, that's what I was going to say. So you do take that into consideration.
Exactly. If you have, like, as an example, a brick rancher and it's 1,200 square feet and you have it in a development that's got amenities and you've got it in a rural area, it's probably the same cost to build it. But what would somebody be willing to pay for the development versus the non-development, a rural area? And that is where the market may derive more. Would be willing to pay more for that home than they would the same home in a rural area. So we look at that.
Good.
And then also, as you look at the sales of homes or the market, we put that information on our website. So you can go to our website and it'll show you there's a term called parcels, meaning the land itself. You can click on it and then you can say sales. And you can type in your street address or you can type in your neighborhood. It'll show a list of neighborhoods. And you can click on it and it'll show you all of the sales within the neighborhood. So you can see what your neighbor's properties have sold for, say, in the last year and a half.
And that would be good information if when I get my value, I think it's too high and I'm thinking of appealing. I probably need to go and look around in my neighborhood and see what things have been selling for. Because, that's sometimes a shocker, especially if you've owned your home like we've lived out in Fairview 25 years. I don't look at what sells around me. And I might be shocked at how much my house is really worth.
True. And one thing to look at too, as homes went up in 06 and like we said came down in 08, 09 and then started coming back, leveling off a little bit, we don't look at the highest sales. We look at data within the last 18 months. So data or information that happened prior to that, that's not fair to assess property values today at values that we're selling for extreme prices. And also and for commercial and residential, if you see sales and you see an extremely high sale, somebody paid way more money than you think a house is worth, it doesn't necessarily set the benchmark for us to follow that sale. We'll look at the high sales and we'll look at the low and we'll toss those out. We'll look at the ones more in the middle. What is the median price of what people would pay for a home? So if you see those things happening in your neighborhood, don't get nervous that that's the one we're going to use for yours, because it's not. It's not fair to you as a resident to use the highest sale, and it's not fair to use the lowest. You look at the ones that average in the middle.
That makes total sense. A lot of this is about fairness, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. We want to be fair to the citizens in value when we use it to tax their properties to come up with the market value.
So January 1 of 2013, whatever my house was worth, is the value that y'all have come up with. You're going to send me that in the mail and tell me what it is.
Right. We're going to mail those out beginning January 22nd, and it should take about 4 or 5 days to get them out. That's a Tuesday, right after Martin Luther King holiday. And by the end of the week, by Saturday, our hope is all of those property values are out to the citizens. Okay,
so I'll have my little piece of paper, and it's going to say what my new value is. Will it tell me what my current value was and what my new value is?
No, it'll only give you the value for 2013.
So the new value?
Right.
Okay. Now that doesn't tell me what my tax bill is going to be.
Exactly.
It just took my value is.
Right.
So if I get that in the mail and I say, wait a minute, I don't like this. This is way more or way less than I think my home is worth. What can I do?
Right. Well, we have 3 easy ways this year for you to appeal your property value. You can, when you open that statement and look at the value, it's got a tear off, and that's an appeal form. You can fill that out with information. You can go online, and there's an appeal form there. It'll have the address with the notice, buncombecounty.org, and it'll be right on the front page. And then also you can call our office at 4940. Keep in mind, we're going to be very busy
I was going to say,
that time of year, and we'll set a time for you to come up and bring any data you want, or mail this data back, or attach it with the online form. Send us anything you think that might help us look at the value, something that we might not have known about your value of your property.
Let me just throw this out for the folks at home, because I know when you tell me you're going to send me my new value, my mind says it's going to be way more than it was 7 years ago. Maybe so, but maybe not. But let's say I appeal it. There's a chance it could actually go up from what you sent me in the mail.
That's true. Property values, when you appeal them, they can stay the same, go up, or come down based on the information that you supply.
So just because you think it's wrong, that doesn't mean that if you appeal it, it's automatically going to go down.
Exactly.
You could appeal it and it could go up.
Exactly.
Okay.
But if you get the form and the value seems reasonable to what you believe it should be, the main thing you need to do is just save the form, and then later the tax rates will be set by all the governing bodies, and then tax bill will be mailed out in August.
Okay. And when will we know if this value has caused my tax bill to go up or down?
You know, when the tax bills are mailed out, you will know that. I will say this, though, as the county, the 6 municipalities in our area, I think we have 23 fire districts, when they set, and 1 school district, when they set their tax rates, and you live in different areas of the county, you may have 2 tax rates, like county and a fire. You may have a county, city, and city school. You need to take maybe your previous year tax bills, look at those rates, and you can begin to calculate and see what you think it's going to be. But we will mail them out around August 15th, and you'll definitely know for sure. And should a citizen need help, call us early. We'll set up a payment plan. We'll tell you different options and help we have, you know, to help you pay your bill if you need help.
Okay. So, but those tax rates won't be set. The value on the property is the value of the property. The tax rate is set by those municipalities, by the county commissioners, and that's a whole separate thing that won't happen until June.
Separate issue. The tax department's responsibility is to reappraise property values to what's there January 1st of 2013. And then we will work with all of the townships and fire departments on giving out the total values for those neighborhoods. And then, like the county managers, city managers, they will then get the data that they need to set values, tax rates for their community, like how much revenue do I need to put on the services, what do the elected officials want to offer the citizens. Then the tax rates will be set from those, between the county managers, city managers, and the fire departments to what those boards need, and then they'll set those tax rates and vote on them and adopt them, and those are open to the public. Encourage people to come to all those. There's a lot of them, but come to them. Give them your viewpoints or what you think you need or don't need. That's part of the citizen process.
It totally is.
It's a completely different process from the evaluation, but when that's done, then you can start putting the rate and the value together to come up with how much tax bill is going to be for each citizen, and it'll be different for each one.
Say my house is valued at $100,000. Just pick that number out of the sky. Then the tax amount, like 52 cents per $100
currently,
on the value, and that's how they figure the tax bill.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and people can get all this online. They can see all about how this is done.
We have it on our website. It shows how to calculate it. It's a lot of information about the properties, the different rates. We have a rate chart on there. You can see all the different areas and hopefully put it together to, and it also has your last year's rates on either on your tax bill or our website that you can go and look at to see,
and you can compare.
To begin looking at which ones affect you.
Right. And if you wonder, because you said that the value won't show what it was 7 years ago, it's going to show what it is in 2013. But you can probably pull that up online and see what it was.
Exactly.
And then the folks at home can compare.
Exactly. And then you can print out any of the information that we have and use it for your appeal or use it for your own records. But it does show last year's tax bill, has receipts there if you need to print those out for your tax returns. But the information is there for previous years for you to look at and make judgments from.
Okay. Now, 2 questions that I know folks want to know because they've shared it with us. One is, why do this? Why revalue everything? Why go back, and put a new value on this? Why not just stick with the values we had 7 years ago?
Good question. Main reason, general statute, our state legislators have set that counties are required to do it every so often. You have to do it once every 8 years. If the the economy changes to the point that it goes up 15% on total assessment, or market value increases 15% or drops 15%, the counties have to do it within a 1-year period. Then the governing boards also have a right to look at and plan when they think it's the best time to do it, like the county. And the county's kind of kept that schedule at 4 years, except for this last time when the economy went up and dropped. But pretty much keep a plan of every 4 years to set those values. But the big thing with values that citizens don't see is the market value from the time we set values goes up or down. And home values change according to where you live, in your market, in your neighborhood. But when you take all of the neighborhoods around the county, they're changing up and down differently. And you get, as those changes take place, people are not paying a fair amount. Somebody may be paying 80% market to the assessment. Somebody may be paying 50 or less. So by doing the reappraisal, you bring all the values back equal at 100% of market, and then you apply a rate, and it's more fair for citizens to pay their portion of tax to any local government.
Right. Now, why, and I know this is on everybody's mind, why did we not do this when it felt like the market, the bottom, just dropped out? Why did we not revalue then? Great
question. I get that asked a lot. What we saw happen in '06, we set the value, the market continued to climb, and most people saw a rapid climb as houses were selling fast. Through '06, '07, and as we got into the beginning of '08, we saw it peak and then start dropping tremendously.
Right.
By the fall of '09, for us to make a decision with the governing board, the county commissioners, and to advise them and the county manager on what was happening, the market was coming back to where we originally started. So for us to take, one, the time to do the reappraisal, it takes a lot of time to do it, close to a year, to look at all the properties and analyze data to come up with the assessments, and then the cost to do it.
Right.
You know, like mailing all the notices, advertising, you know, going through the appeal process. It's very expensive to do that. So when you look at that and how close we were to our original assessment as a whole, taking the whole county and all the neighborhoods and putting them together, our assessment was relatively close to where we started. So I advised the commissioners that I think we could wait. We got on a year-to-year waiting, and as we got into now 3 years past that, our economy has been much improved.
Right.
You see a much stabilization in home prices beginning to come up, and we see now more homes being listed on the market.
So we started here, and it went like this.
It's like a wave.
Yeah, and then we're back now to about here, so it's time to do it again.
Yes, it is.
That makes total sense, but I know that was in a lot of people's minds, because I remember back when the market fell out, and everybody said, oh, they need to look at the values again. But overall, when you look at the whole county, and that's what we have to look at.
Yeah, if you just took any one property or any one neighborhood, you may say, well, it went up, you should have done it, or it dropped tremendously, let's change it and bring it to market. You know, that works when you look at one, but when you look at 125,000 parcels and you're trying to make a decision on the betterment for the community, that's what you have to look at. And then there's a lot of statistical information we analyze and run, and it tells us, you know, a lot of information too to make those judgment calls.
And this was the second question. We had people say, please find out, do you guys make these assessments? Do you actually visit the neighborhoods and go out and look, like here, look at these homes, or do you sit in an office in a cubicle and look at a little drawing on your screen and decide?
No, we go out in the community every day. All of our appraisers are certified by the Department of Revenue to, one, do their job. They have to be certified in order to set value and do a lot of training throughout the year that we do. The second thing, they live in this community or very close to Buncombe County. We have one that lives outside of Buncombe County, but all the others live here in our community and know the community well. And they've been doing this job, most of our appraisers are 15 plus years. Some of them have been there 25 years. But they go out into the community every day. These are their neighbors. A lot of them are their families that are out there. So they know the community, they know the neighborhoods, and they gather data. So as data changes, we try to update our system constantly with the new information so we can do the reappraisal. So we get out in the neighborhoods.
We know these neighborhoods.
But I will say this, Kathy, we are human. Our values are going to be as good as the data on our system. If we've made a mistake and you think this does not look reasonable as a value, look at the website or call us. We don't want to overassess you. We don't want to underassess you. So if we've done either, let us know. We want to give you a fair value so you can pay your fair portion of tax like all other citizens.
And we want you to know, because these notices are going out. It's soon. It's soon. You're going to get those values in your hand, and for a lot of people, it's going to be a shocker because they're not expecting that it's time to get it. And you know, that's just not on your radar. You've just come through the holiday season, you've just started a brand new year, you're not thinking tax bill because that comes in August.
Right.
They're going to get this value and it's going to be a shocker. But we don't want them to be shocked. We want them to look at it. We want you to see it, look at it, analyze it. And then like you said, you've got all those options to, if you like it. Now, we didn't talk about this. What if I see my value and I say, oh, that looks good. Or, yeah, I think I'll accept that. I don't love it, but I'll take it. Well, do they have to do anything?
Don't need to do anything. Just save that notice for your records that we sent it out. Make sure the name, the address is correct, so we'll mail the information in the future on it.
Right.
Hold it, and then in August of that year, you should receive the tax bill.
Right.
Don't need to do anything with us.
Nothing
if you
till
think
August.
Exactly.
That's it. But if you get it and you're not happy with it, we're going to put up on the screen the options that you have to respond. And like you said, though, if you want to call them, and they call you after January 22nd, the phones will be busy.
Yes.
So be patient.
And I will say this too, when you get the values sent to you, try to call within the first 30 days.
Yes.
You have specific time frames to appeal. You have 30 days to appeal, or when the Board of Equalization and review meet. That's an independent board the commissioners appoint area residents to hear appeals. We will work with you on something called an informal appeal. And if we don't agree, then you have a right to take it to the Board of Equalization and Review, and they will hear your case. And then you can also go to a higher level, a state board called a Property Tax Commission. But look at that information, get it back to us within 30 days. Again, you can do it by website, mail it, call it, but gather the data you think is important that shows information you know that we might not, and send it to us. We certainly want to see.
Got to be some proof in there.
Yes, certainly. And it could be photos, it could be an appraisal you've recently gotten, it could be repairs that you need to do to your house. You've gotten major repairs I'm talking about.
Right.
There's certain maintenance that all homes have to have.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really change your value, like a roof or certain things like, you know, if you start to get into different heating systems from where you need to tell us, but certain normal repairs like painting and stuff, that shouldn't affect your value. I mean, it has a market value based on what's there. But let us know as quickly as possible, and we'll certainly come out to homes. If somebody says, I really got to have you out here to look at it, it's just hard to explain it to you, we'll come.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is get a lot of the calls handled first, and then as it warms up into the spring, we may have those. But we've got plenty of time to get them worked before the tax bills go out.
Because we've been talking residential because we think of homeowners, because like you said, 125,000 parcels or big amount. But this is businesses too? Is this reappraisal on businesses also?
Actually, it's the commercial properties business owns. Now, businesses that have equipment to do their businesses, you know, run and make their income, those are listed in January, and those actually depreciate each year, kind of like automobiles. When you get your automobile, you see it kind of slowly ticking down, and at some point it gets a residual value, just kind of, that's about what it's worth, and it'll stay there. Same for businesses. They list all their different assets like furniture, computer, and equipment, things like that in January. So hopefully by getting the list sheets out early, and then we come right behind that and do the notices, that gives the citizens more opportunity to call our offices without those business listings that are done earlier. That's why we're not doing it the very first week in January, is to let the business listings, personal property listings get out, handle those phone calls, and as soon as we can tell they're done, we're putting these on the streets.
Be ready for the residents.
Exactly.
Because they will be calling.
A few might call.
One thing you're doing too, though, is you're putting a flyer, which I've been referring to here in my hand, in the newspaper. So it's going to be a flyer in the newspaper. You'll have extra copies of that around.
Yes.
We'll put that on the website. It's got all the information, everything he's just said is in here. So they can have that to read and look at and learn for themselves.
Exactly. And if you've got a civic group or association you want us to come speak to, we've got staff, myself, or others that can come out, help educate, or even answer more particular questions you might have for your specific area, you know, that might not be in our conversation today.
That's right. Because this is so important. Taxes is what, really the payment of taxes is what keeps the county rolling, and the county does such important business. It's really important for the citizens to understand that this is part of what you do to help us make things happen. So we want you to be prepared and understand what's in the mail to you. Gary, is there anything else you want them to know?
Yeah, I would say when you get the notice, don't be nervous about it. I know we sent you a value, it might be more or less, but look at it and ask, is it reasonable? watch for the tax rates to be set. If your value goes down, all over the county, you know, the rates may come up a little. If your value's higher, the rates may come down. We don't know that until all of the boards meet and set their rates. So I guess what I don't want citizens to do is to be shocked or nervous just by their value. Look at it, gather data from your colleagues like real estate agents or your insurance friends, people that know something about real estate, and ask their view too, or talk to your neighbors, nothing wrong with that, and see, do they think your value. A lot of people look at their home and it's just that, it's just my home place. Doesn't have a value, but it does, and you know, we don't want that to scare you. That's the last thing we want to do is scare our residents. We want to send them what we believe is a fair value.
That's right.
And if for some reason they think it's not, call us or write us in those documents we have, or go online and let us know.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because just to say my house was $100,000 and my value comes and it says $180,000, that doesn't necessarily mean my tax bill will be more.
Exactly. It does not until those rates are set. It could be less.
That's right. It could be.
Yes.
We keep our fingers
crossed. We hope everyone's as well.
That's right. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We gave you a ton of information, but every bit of it is important because we want you to be prepared, not shocked, not scared, not nervous, but have all the information you need to get that value and understand what you've got so you can make sure it's right. So we in the tax office know that it's right. So in Buncombe County, you're proud of the value and of your property, and you're happy. But because we gave you so much information, we also know that you might need to hear it again. So if you've tuned in midway through the program, I would urge you to watch the whole thing or go online to buncombecounty.org. We'll have all the information there. It'll come to you in the mail. There's flyers out there you can download. Give them a call. Give the tax office a call and they'll be happy to help you. And as always, stay tuned to BCTV, where we will try to keep you informed what's going on in the county so you know first.